But could we reiterate for a second what Western is? Like, do we know anymore? Do we really know? Like, why was it anti-Western? Was it because people lost their individual rights? They lost their freedom of choice when it came to things being put in their body? What was it that was so anti-Western at the core?
Right. So if you like, the crowning achievement of Western civilization has been the idea of individual autonomy, the ability to decide things for yourself, along with the other kinds of things we've been talking about, reason and data, democracy to a certain extent, and so on. But these things all go together: free speech, open inquiry, et cetera, et cetera. But you need all those things to come together in order to produce a society in which the idea of the individual having control of his own life comes to the fore. And I mean, these kinds of societies are quite rare. If you look at the full landscape of human history, doesn't happen very often. And so those people who are thinking, well, that situation that we had is the normal situation. In COVID, things got weird. Don't worry, it's a pendulum. It's going to swing back to normal. I mean, maybe. I hope they're right. But the other possibility is that period of Western civilization where you had the idea of individual autonomy, and by the way, it was never pure or absolute. I mean, there were always things that encroached upon it. But it was always this struggle to protect it from the inclinations of various interests to impede it. But this period of individual autonomy may have been the aberration itself. And maybe going back to it will be difficult. Now, I don't mean to say that we've lost it altogether. We haven't. I mean, you and I are having this conversation without interference so far. And so there's still lots of it left. But the way things are proceeding suggests that its future is not bright unless we all change our minds about how the society is supposed to be run, unless we decline to embrace critical theory and all of its branches, unless we challenge the authority of the experts who populate the administrative state, who think that it is their job to tell us all what to do in our own interest and in the interests of society. That's, if you like, the central proposition of the administrative state, and that dovetails very nicely with critical theory, right? Because they might not be the same thing, but they are essentially now, in ideas terms, working together along the same path.
Yes. The administrative state is pushing those kinds of ideas that proponents of critical theory are kind of bringing up. So my question then is, critical theory coming out of, you have the Enlightenment, you have Western culture, you have rationality, you have scientific process, you have scientific progress, you have all of these things. And then we see, the First World War, and then you have critical theory and all of these kinds of doctrines. Marxism pops up slightly before the First World War. What happened there in the 20th century that suddenly it was like the West started to commit suicide? And now
Yes.
we are, we thought, okay, it's over. Now, Second World War is won. We are victorious. We are free again, and we fought for our freedom, and we're back there. And now, how do we get back here?
Right. It's a very good question, and there are lots of theories about this. And here are two that are sort of in opposition to each other, in very simple terms. And I'm going to oversimplify perhaps a little bit, but in simple terms, one of the theories goes like this: that we had very sound ideas, and we got away from them, and we need to go back to them. And the other theory goes, no, the seeds of our destruction are in the premises themselves. and that this is just the logical result of those ideas over a period of time.
In which premises?
In the premises of modern Western civilization. So here let me describe that theory for a moment. This is how we get to transhumanism. Okay, so if we're going to identify Western civilization with the Enlightenment, and that's not the only thing that it's connected to, but let's just deal with that for now. Enlightenment, scientific method, and so on. It is a secularization, if you like, of society. It is the death of God. It is the death of mysticism, of spirituality. It's looking at the world in material ways. It is deconstructing the world into its component bits. That's the scientific method. You take things apart to see what they're made of. Material is constructed with atoms, which are built on protons and electrons, and so on. It's a reductionist point of view. Now, there's no particular reason why that endeavor can't coexist with spirituality and religion. But this period also seems to be characterized by a widespread loss of faith on the part of many people. Why some writers people will be familiar with, call it the death of God. Now, if you lose that aspect of your life and you have no faith in anything else but the material, then one thing that you are likely to lose is a sense of meaning, or a sense of belonging, if you like, a sense of well-being, a loss of the sense that the universe is unfolding as it should. A faith in nature, if you like.
And a moral code.
And a moral code. And a moral code. I'll give you that. Absolutely. A moral code. There is meaning in people's moral codes, right? But so if you lose that, and the world is only material, and there is no heaven to go to, and you are just a collection of molecules, and yet you are predisposed evolutionarily to look for meaning, which humans do, then where are you going to get to? You're going to get to, arguably, some people have made this argument, you're going to get to transhumanism. And transhumanism, people think of transhumanism as the idea of melding, molding, combining human and technology in a way that benefits the human experience. You live longer, your parts are enhanced, you're able to link to the web without going on your computer, all kinds of great benefits to using technology and integrating technology into the human animal. Okay, but what also comes with it is a resolve to reject the world you were born into as essentially wrong and devoid of meaning, and you try to remake it in your own image to make it better, if you like, to try and make heaven on earth, because there is no heaven. It is taking things into your own hands and rejecting the idea that there is any kind of sensibility or direction or value in what was, or what is in the natural world even. And instead, there's no problem with making this up for ourselves because there is nothing else. It's okay. So here's where we get to. Here's how it becomes concrete, right? Number one example, I think, is transgenderism, right? So it's consistent with a transhumanist point of view that, well, why can't you change your gender? Because this is all there is. So, and we can do it. We have the technology. We're just going to, hey, you say he was born a boy. Well, what does that mean? I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, there is no God. There is no nature that's valuable. What do we care how he was born?
Truth is subjective.
We are going to create. Here's a subjective. We are going to make a girl. And if you oppose that because he's really a boy, then you just don't get it. And your objection to the procedure is not just an objection to the procedure, it's an objection to the premise of our philosophy. And therefore you are dangerous.